My name is Naomi Lucas. You would more often than not find me straddling the intersection between media, youth development, and technology. I established a company called Graduate Pro, and essentially what Graduate Pro tries to do is to connect young people to economic opportunities, leveraging the pervasiveness of internet and mobile technology, the affinity for young people for creative industries, and then making sure that across board they're able to get what they need and to be competitive in today's marketplace. That's what we do. How would I reimagine Africa? I think I'm already doing that. I have lived in Africa all my life. I mean, I live in Nigeria, but I've traveled around the continent quite a bit doing work. And I honestly think that we have so many opportunities that we aren't leveraging. I believe that there can be an African dream, and you can deconstruct that to your specific country. I believe that prosperity exists on the continent, and you do not have to go anywhere to find your dream. I believe that. But my work has also made me aware of the limitations of the environment. I say that talent, everybody has talent, but opportunity is not equally distributed, right? So for me, I'm looking forward to an Africa where you have access to opportunities irrespective of what time of the day it is and what part of the continent you live in. And I'm working on business models, interventions, special projects, collaborations that seek to deepen access to opportunities. That is an Africa I look forward to. My primary objective for the next 12 months. Let me talk about what I'm currently doing and how it fits into the next 12 months. So, in line with the last question that you asked me about reimagining Africa, I would give you some background on my work. I was working with a youth marketing firm that saw me traveling around 32 states in Nigeria. Out of Nigeria's 36 states. My job was to reach 1 million girls in about 4,500 schools every year. To do that, I had to recruit. It was the horror that I saw traveling around the country trying to find people to work with me that made me set up Graduate Pro. You know, they say there are no jobs. I don't think so. I mean, I had jobs in my pocket. I couldn't find people to give them to. So, I mean, just thinking about how to connect with today's young people, how to get them to understand the demands and the requirements of today's marketplace, how to help them move from where they are to where we need them to be attractive to would-be employers. That has been my life's work for the last 4 years. I mean, working in youth development, I would have young people ask me, so I finished school, now what, now what, now what? So I got tired of giving advice piece by piece. Then I wrote a book called I'm a Graduate, Now What? My intention with the book was for it to be a Bible for anybody who finished school in Africa. I can't deal with you one-on-one, so take everything you need to make sense of the world after school is in here. But I knew that if I printed, I would lose a large chunk of the young people I'm trying to reach. I mean, they're walking on the streets with Beats by Dre and bobbing their heads, you know, so I just knew that it was going to be difficult to reach them. So we decided to make it into audio. So, I mean, it's portable. But I realized that in all my brilliance, I am one person. And if I read a 51 chapter book, I am going to lose people at some point. So it started with a crazy thought. What would it take to get, business leaders, celebrities, influencers to just come together and read this stuff so we can aggregate their collective influence and get young people to pay attention? That was the thought. And that was exactly what we did. We've published the book. We're currently distributing with a telco, but I mean, just before I came here, we've signed to distribute on probably another 10 or so global platforms. The intention is to fix our distribution infrastructure before we get on the road and begin to have experiential events. So what do I intend to do in the next 1 year? My primary objective is to deepen, I said that at the beginning, deepen access. Because of how bad, the panel yesterday, we were talking about, Dabisaki was talking about, being careful with what we think technology can do because there are limitations. But I will use Nigeria as an example. We are 170 million people. How many seminars and boot camps can you have before you gain any traction? So if you talk to 200 people or you fix 200 people, there are 20 million who need help right now. So you have to be able to leverage technology to reach as many people as you can where they are, before you're able to get some more comprehensive help to them. And that's what we're trying to do. So this next year, deepen that. We just got a small grant from, it's okay, it's part of the ambience. We just got a small grant from Ford Foundation as well to run a pilot in my home state. And we're hoping to, explore opportunities like that as well. What do I need to make this happen? I honestly agree with the assertion that collaboration is new competition. I think that what I'm trying to do is too big. I think that the problem is too systemic, and I would be deluded to think that my intervention is a solution to the entire problems we have along the value chain. One critical aspect that bothers me is research. I have no practical competence in research, and I have no intention of running anything that has to do with research. I want to focus on my work, which is creative direction, which is production, which is design of the program and how we implement. So if I can find somebody to help, and let me explain why I need research. We're trying to do something. We're using entertainment and pop culture, youth culture, and creative art forms to try and deal with or institute behavioral change. So I need someone who can track what that does. To break it down, let me give you an example. When I go back to Nigeria now, I'm finalizing distribution of 55 short videos we created from the production that I told you about on about 25 local stations in Nigeria, across the Southwest and then nationally as well. I need to know what that would do after 3 months. Young people who, before they encounter the content, what was the mindset? After they encounter the content, what was the mindset? I need help with that. Research. The second thing I need help with is program implementation. Like I said, we're 170 million people. There is a lot to do, and we are a very small team. We have bootstrapped unbelievably in the last 2-3 years to be able to come where we've come. So if I can find anyone who can come and help with, the Ford grant, for example, there is no funding for manpower, but there's funding for the project. So a lot of times you find volunteers and friends and family with competencies you can leverage to do those things. If there's anyone interested in program design and program implementation, I'll be grateful. Funding. Truthfully, the difference between success and failure for a lot of enterprises is actually just scale. And with the kind of project that I'm doing, there is a level at which I need to execute. I'm unable to do that because so far, everything that we've achieved has come from my pocket. So if we can find people who can plug us in, and help us find the funds that we need to execute. A lot of times people say, okay, we're funding credibility issues. Do you have this certification, that certificate? You know what? I don't even need the money. Put it in some account someplace and get somebody to administer and just let it be available for what I need to do with it. So if we get those 3 things, I'm very happy. My commitment will be I would find collaborators. Right now in Ghana, the most exciting thing for me is, there's Movemeback. I told you I had your flyer. I have like only God knows how many complimentary cards. I'm just excited. Okay, so we've been thinking of replicating in Ghana, and it looks like I found a couple of people. We work in silos a lot on the continent. For you to find a cheap flight to Zambia, you would fly to Dubai and then fly back into the continent. So we just have silos, and we have border issues. We don't really collaborate. It's easier for me to find a collaborator in the US than to find somebody in Gambia to work with. Yes, it is. And sometimes for language reasons, sometimes for trust reasons, sometimes it's just difficult for you to do that. So I am committed to finding collaborators. And if you know anyone, yes, that's something I should have mentioned. If you know anyone in sub-Saharan Africa specifically, because we're looking to replicate what I just talked about in about 13 countries. If you know people who are credible in those countries, I don't want to go to Rwanda and be telling graduates there what to do. They don't know who the heck I am, and I'm not interested in becoming famous. If you are Rwandan and they know you have some credibility, we want you to run the show. So yes, that's what I'm committed to do. You see, conversations like what we're having here is very important. It may look like nothing much is happening, but everything starts with an idea. Talk is not cheap. And if we talk, the problem is half solved, because then we can understand, get on the same page, and then look for ways to work together. So I think it's a good thing that Harvard is doing. And I told Debbie Parker that, sorry, I'm not an alumni, or it's unfortunate I'm not an alumni, but the next time you want to have a conference, I think I have value to add, and I will do that for free. Just call me. So yes, talk is not cheap, and what you're doing is very good. Keep it up.